Good morning, traders. I'm Emily Ivani, the CEO of the Investment Banking Institute and your host here at NewsWare's Trade Talk. Joining me is trading anchor Bill Olson, who brings more than 30 years of institutional trading experience to our program. At Trade Talk, we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Today is Monday, August 19th. The big headline as we head into a new week is the upcoming Jackson Hole Economic Policy Symposium, and it may not be a drop of a Taylor Swift album, but investors will be looking for Easter eggs in commentary from Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell. To end last week, stocks were able to close another regular session in the green. On Friday, the Dow gained 96 points, or about 1/4%. The S&P 500 picked up 11 points, or just less than 1/4%. The Nasdaq added 37 points, or also just less than 1/4%. Bill, let's get into Monday with what is happening in the markets this morning.
Yes. Good morning, Emily. I'm watching the S&Ps. We're actually higher. We're up 0.06%, which is fine because we were, flat to lower. Now we're flat to higher. So that is a turnaround. And, you got to appreciate that. I mean, it's an interesting week because we got a host of big box retail earnings coming out this week. And you got the Fed meeting minutes, you got the Jackson Hole event. And the Jackson Hole event's going to be the big one because Fed Chairman Jerome Powell is going to be speaking at 10 a.m. on Friday. Now, he's expected to provide clarity in terms of the September rate cut. And he'll probably pivot the Fed's focus from inflation to employment is kind of the expectations. Recently, we heard from, on Friday, we heard from Fed Bank President Neil Kashkari of Minneapolis, and he commented that the balance of risks have shifted, so the debate about potentially cutting rates in September is appropriate. Mary Daly of the San Francisco Fed was also more dovish, suggesting the Fed may be nearing a point where rate reductions can be considered without jeopardizing its price stability mandate. This is what we want to see in order to get our rate cut in September. Goldman came out and said that the odds of a U.S. recession over the next 12 months have dropped to 20% from 25. But I got to tell you, I'm cautious because I think the market is kind of expecting, a 50 basis point cut, and they really seem likely to do 25 at the most. And that differential is enough to cause the market to be nervous and scared, and could cause some weakness. So I'm a little nervous, but we'll get more Fed speak during the week. We'll get more clarity during the week, and we'll see how the market reacts. But let's take a look at the overseas action now, real quick. Starting off with the DAX. The DAX, is now higher. It would open up a little lower, opened up a little weak. There was some selling in tech, but it is now trading higher, which is good to see. The DAX is up 44 points, or 0.24%. The CAC, on the other hand, is lower by just flatly. They're down 0.01%, but the CAC in Paris is up 27 points, or 0.37%. The main thing here, like in Germany, we're seeing gains in autos and banks, but weakness in tech. In France, in England, they have a bunch of defense contractors, and those stocks are falling after a report out of Germany saying they're no longer going to grant new requests for aid to the Ukraine government as they're seeking to rein in spending. That's kind of an issue. We'll have to see how that plays out. Then we look over in Asia, see what happened last night in Asia, and we saw that the Nikkei dropped 674 points, or 1.77%. Realistically, the yen rallied against the dollar. That weighed on equities. The Hang Seng jumped 139 points, or 0.8%, and the Shanghai Composite jumped 14 points, or 0.49%. Banking sector and growth oriented tech stocks were higher in China. Those two Asian markets are looking for a stimulus package out of the PBOC. The PBOC may reduce some rates this week. We'll have to wait and see. But turning our attention over to oil, because oil's still a story, because we got the WTI and Brent still falling. WTI is down about 0.8% to $76 flat. And Brent, on the other hand, is trading $79.08. They're both down about 0.75% or more. I mean, the prospect of that weak demand out of China is a significant concern. I mean, it's offsetting any potential supply risks coming out of the Middle East. So yeah, we got to really be worried about the oil prices falling a little further. But that's what I have for you in terms of a morning market update report, Emily.
Bill, you start Monday sort of ahead of the game. You're able to capture all of this information, get that overview on the day ahead because you have your newsware. And one of the things you mentioned in your opening was a host of retail earnings are coming out throughout the week. That's one of the things that investors will be watching. So, Bill, what is going on in terms of earnings action?
Well, I mean, let's start off with Estee Lauder, ticker EL, Edward Larry. I mean, they did release earnings this morning. They did deliver a beat of 37 cents. It was done on higher revenue. CEO said he's stepping down, but not till next year. But it was the guidance that just crushed the stock. You look at Estee Lauder this morning, stock's down 3.65%. Upcoming this afternoon, we got Palo Alto Networks, ticker PANW. Their EPS is $1.41. They guided $1.40 to $1.42. So, $1.41 is appropriate. Expected move is 9.80%. Medtronics is releasing tomorrow morning, ticker MDT, David, Tom. EPS is $1.20. Expected move is 3.86%. Brokers aren't loving Medtronics, I will tell you. Lowe's, ticker LOW, EPS is $3.96. Expected move is 4.60% when they release tomorrow morning, Emily.
And Bill, as we both mentioned, economic events are really in focus this week. The Jackson Hole Summit, the Fed meeting minutes, and we're investors, as you mentioned, are continuing to look for clues on what the Fed is going to do next and trying to price that in. So, give us a look at what we should be watching when it comes to Monday's economic events.
Well, yeah, Jackson Hole is the big event for the week, but we also have the Fed meeting minutes, which come out on Wednesday, which could create volatility in the markets. But today we got at 10 a.m. we got two reports coming out: e-commerce, retail sales, and leading indicators. Neither one of them is really going to spark these markets today, I don't think. At 9:15 a.m. we will be hearing from Fed Governor Christopher Waller. He's been known to deliver some comments that have caused market volatility, so that's something to watch out for. But that's what I have for you in terms of economic events happening today, Emily.
Bill, along with your earnings action and your economic events, you are also watching other types of news using your newsware. You're looking at things like merger news, guidance news, shareholders meetings, buyback news. You're able to group stocks together like your FANG stocks and your Dow 30 stocks to track trends on the day. You can look at different sectors and segments. You can search by ticker symbol and really gather a wealth of information very quickly. So, Bill, what else do you see as possibly moving the markets today?
I'm just doing a quick data check. I'm looking at my Dow stocks. I got 20 higher, 7 lower. I'm looking at my FANG stocks. It's mixed. I mean, Apple and Amazon and Google are trading higher, but Meta and Netflix are lower. Tesla's gaining. That's interesting. I didn't think they'd be in for a gain today. In terms of the news behind it, there's a lot of events coming up, with the FANG stocks. Like Apple has its product launch next month. They're going to be talking about new AirPods. They're going to be talking about the new iPhone 16, new, CPU chips. So there's a lot going on, a lot available for Apple to talk about next month when they have their Apple release date. Google's got a cloud security summit that starts tomorrow. Meta's got their Meta Connect event at September 25th and 26th, and Tesla's got a robo taxi event scheduled for October 10th. So we got a lot of events that we need to start put on the calendar, pay attention to. In terms of Dow Jones 30 stocks, Apple's out there. Their in-house modem chip could debut in some models in 2025. A report came out today. Disney, that sports streaming bundle, which was with Fox and Disney and others. That was blocked by a judge. The judge said this is almost a monopoly. They feel it's more almost a monopoly that these three companies have. So that it's causing FUBU shares to rise this morning. But you look at Disney and it's trading higher. So Disney's a beast. You can't hold that stock down forever. They have a strong category of data. JP Morgan, hey, the bank stocks are on watch this week ahead of Powell's speech on Friday. We just got to reiterate that. In terms of merger news, ADM, Advanced Micro Devices, they're going to be acquiring ZT Systems in cash and stock transaction valued at $4.9 billion. Riley, B. Riley, ticker RILY, Richard India, Larry Yellow. They confirmed receipt of an unsolicited proposal to take the company private. It was done by the former owner of the company, so that's interesting. Stock's been, falling apart over the last few weeks. In terms of guidance news, SD Lauder, the ACQ1 adjusted EPS coming in 2 cents to 10 cents, whereas the street estimate was at 63 cents. See that's why your stock has fallen down 3% this morning. In terms of shareholder events going on, Chevron, there's a big energy conference that starts today and it runs all week long in Denver. Could have some effect on some of these oil stocks. In terms of buyback news, CBOE, they announced an expansion of its buyback program by $500 million on Friday. JBHT, which is JB Hunt, John Boy, Henry Tom, they adopted a new shareholder repurchase agreement of up to $1 billion. And that's what I have for you in terms of news hitting the tape this morning, Emily.
This is the type of data that NewsWare delivers daily. It's factual, it's market moving, and our learning functions bring it to your attention as it happens. Go to www.newsware.com now and sign up for the trial and see for yourself the benefits that professional Newswire delivers. It is now that time of the show for the Trade Talk pick of the day. Bill, what is your pick to start this week?
I'm just going to stick with an earnings coming out. Palo Alto Networks, ticker PANW, Paul Apple, Nancy William, because it's the best of the breed. Earnings are due out after the bell. EPS is $1.41. Expected move is 9.80%. That's a big move for this stock. Now, Friday's call volume, 15,654 versus put volume, 11,250. Positive. Open interest, 188,279 versus 248,414. Negative. Not good. Major brokers are positive on the stock. They've been raising price targets. CFO said that, in last quarter's earnings report that we delivered consistent profitable growth yet again in Q3 and look forward to executing against our strategic goals and financial targets as we close out the year. Positive, like to see that. For me, I'm going to get in, under 335, under 345. Stock's trading at 336 and a half right now. But, for me to get comfortable in it, 334, 335 is really where I'd like to be for that to start having a run into earnings. But we'll have to wait and see as the market gets closer to the opening, if that's possible. But I'm not planning on holding into earnings at this point in time. But if I can get my gain during the day, I'm going to take it and walk away and be happy. But Palo Alto Networks, PANW, Paul Apple, Nancy Williams, that's my pick of the day today, Emily.
We will follow that along with you, Bill. Play ahead of earnings, looking for that specific entry price and grabbing that 1% if you see it and not hanging on to it, employing your strategy today for your pick of the day. And coming up, we're going to take a look at Friday's pick of the day, so stick with us. But ahead of that, let's take a look at the current breaking headlines that have hit the tape in our hot off the press segment. Bill, take it away.
Guess ticker GES, their CFO stepping down. Tesla trails rivals in offering driver assistant features in China. Marriott, ticker MAR, announces licensing agreement with Sonder Holding. Could be some. SRPT, Sam Richard Paul Town, a 3 million gene therapy maker at a bargain price, is a journal article. Pfizer said to be staking its turnaround on its cancer drugs. Makes sense. Uber, ticker UBER. S&P upgraded its credit rating to BBB minus from BB plus. That outlook positive. That's credit worthiness, so that's a good one. LQDA, Liquida Corp granted FDA tentative approval for one of their drugs. That's all I'm saying this morning, Emily.
Okay, Bill, before we dive into another week of trading, let's take a look at your pick of the day from Friday, which was Southwest Airlines. Now, Bill, you made this pick following news that Southwest Airlines Elliott Management nominated a slate of board of directors to serve on the airline's board, and this increased ownership to 8.2% of the outstanding Southwest Airlines share. There's sort of days of rumblings about this, and Friday really there was a bow tied on it, and Elliott's nominees include 4 former airline CEOs. The firm has recommended reconstituting Southwest's board, bringing on a new CEO and a new independent chair, and undergoing a comprehensive business review. You thought maybe this news, after sort of days of questions, would give the stock a boost. Bill, how did your call work out?
It didn't really work out. I mean, look. Let's just look at the numbers. Stock opened up at $26.41 and it ran up to $26.62, but that's not 1%. Then it fell down to 26 and closed at 26.33. And this morning you look at the stock, it's trading 26.44, which is higher than Friday's open, but it didn't hit the 1%. So it was a miss anyway you look at it. I still like the idea of the story. I still think it has legs, but for the 1% turnaround, it wasn't there. And it just, there was no earnings plays that I liked. I mean, Friday, nothing in the afternoon. This morning, the only one that's coming out is Estee Lauder, which I didn't like. And look at the stock, it's getting hit. So I went with Southwest Airlines. It was, the idea was solid, but the return was flat. I mean, it didn't deliver the gain that I was hoping for on Friday, Emily.
But back to your strategy with the earnings play today, Bill. We live to trade another day, and we will check in with you tomorrow about today, Palo Alto Network's pick of the day. Bill, thank you, as always, for your expert insight. Join us back here tomorrow and each weekday morning this week at NewsWare's Trade Talk, when we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Again, I'm your host, Emily Advani, here with trading anchor Bill Olson. Traders, you know what to do. Let's go out there and make some green.